Hi, I'm Amanda Ziba. Welcome to my channel, Learning with the Word Nerd, and happy almost Valentine's Day. As a former middle school teacher, I know that Valentine's Day can be just nuts. It can be so crazy with all of those teenage hormones, but as teachers, we want to embrace, their romantic hearts, but we also would really, truly like to get some academic learning done amidst all the romantic chaos. So today I want to offer you up an exercise, an activity that you can do called Speed Date with a Book. You can do this with either fiction or nonfiction books, and I'm going to walk you through it right now. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to tell your students that they are going to date a book. Now, you can play this up as much or as little as you want with your students. You know their maturity level, their age, what's generally accepted in your classroom. But sometimes, especially I did this with my college students, and so I really played it up, and I was like, you guys, I've got something to tell you. I'm a bit of a promiscuous reader, kind of read around a lot, and I know what I like in books. Or you say, when you're out there on the scene looking for someone new to date, what do you look for? Do you look for personality? Do you look for appearance? Do you look for tall people, short people? Do you look for blonde people, redheads? What are you looking for when you want to date somebody? Today, we're going to use those same characteristics, those same skills and practices, but we're going to apply them to books. So I want you to go out into the library, classroom library, school library, public library, and I want you to find 4 books that you would like to date. Now, the only parameters I would put on this are 1, do all fiction or all nonfiction. It's just going to help later on in the activity. The other thing I would tell them is, at least in my case with my students, what I told them, is I'm going to ask you to read one of these books. So if you are not a person who wants to read a 400-page book, please do not bring back a 400-page book. Okay? We're looking for things that are going to be a good match, a good fit, a good date for us. So I send them out into the library, tell them to bring back 4 books. Okay? So then when they have those books, we're going to speed date them. I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. And for 5 minutes alone, they are going to look at that one book. Typically when I do this, I tell them that for the first 2 or 3 minutes, they're not even allowed to write anything down. They simply have to give their full attention to this book to try to decide if they want to date it or not. Then after that 2 or 3 minutes are up, I let them look at this sheet. I'll put this in the links for you guys to be able to get in the description box. And for fiction books, I ask them, what's the title of your book? What's the length of your book? What's the most interesting thing that's written in the blurb? The blurb is either on the cover of a fiction book, hardcover book, it'll be on the inside front cover, or in a paperback, it'll be on the back. So what's the most interesting thing about the blurb that you read? What's the most interesting thing about the image or the text on the cover? Any other notes you want to make about this book? Like maybe there are a few illustrations in the book. Maybe they notice that it has big print. Maybe they notice it's a graphic novel. Maybe they notice that it alternates points of view when the story's being told. So after they make all those notes, the timer's up at 5 minutes, then we switch to the next book. They put that book aside and they take out the next one. They look at it for 2 or 3 minutes, and then they go back to their sheet and they answer their questions. After they've done this for all 4 books, you ask them to look at the final question on the worksheet for each of the stories. And it says, do you want to date this book? Yes or no? And again, depending on the maturity of your students, you can really lay this on thick and play it up. Like, are you going to take this one home? Do you want this book to meet your parents? Do you want to spend a little extra time with this story? Or are you like, hard pass, no thank you? Okay? So hopefully, after they look through all 4 books, they found at least one that they would like to date or spend some more time with, and then you can have them check it out and take it home. If you're lucky, your students will find more than one book that they want to date, and they can write down those other titles for future reading. It works just as well with nonfiction books. I just ask them a little bit different questions on the nonfiction sheet. What is the title of the book? The topic? What is the length? Does it use images? Is there an index available? What's the most interesting thing in the table of contents? Again, you could use it with something like a guidebook, or you could use it with something like a nonfiction narrative. You could maybe even do this with textbooks if you wanted. If they're trying to find a research resource that they want to use for a paper, how do they decide which resource they really want to use? You could have them do a blind date with a book, or a speed date with a book. About a week or two after they've checked out these books and spent a little time dating them, I have this follow-up worksheet that says, how was your date? Okay, what book did you decide to date, at least for a little while? Did you finish the book, yes or no? If not, what page are you on? For fiction books, who's the main character in your story? Can you relate to this person or make a connection with them in their life? What is your book about? Is this a topic you still find interesting? What's one thing you've learned through reading or dating your book? What's your favorite part of this book so far? And what's one thing you wish were different about this book? So the whole point of the exercise is to let your students try on some stories to find what they feel is a good fit. But on Valentine's Day, you can wrap the whole ruse in a romantic theme that connects to the holiday that they're so excited about anyways. Like I said, I'll put links for these activities in the description so you can grab them for yourself. If you've got other great ideas to do for Valentine's Day in connection to reading, I'd love to hear about them. Please put them in the comments. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and hopefully you can come back to Learning with the Word Nerd again and find out even more great tips and tricks for your ELA and middle school classrooms. All right, happy Valentine's Day!